And straight away starting with breaking news coming in, those are the live visuals that we are getting of ED searches which are currently underway at Sanjay Raut's residence. So ED is currently raiding Sanjay Raut's residence. For now we are told his Bhandup residence is being searched by the Enforcement Directorate. Remember, Sanjay Raut had earlier skipped 2 summons by the Enforcement Directorate, and the latest what we are learning is that the Enforcement Directorate is conducting searches at Sanjay Raut's residence. We'll go across to Alisha as well, who's tracking all the latest on that, but what we are learning so far is that the searches are being held at Sanjay Raut's residence. Those are the early morning raids being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate. Remember, Sanjay Raut had earlier skipped 2 summons by the Enforcement Directorate. We have Alisha tracking all the latest on that. Alisha, give us the latest that you're picking up. The search is being carried out at Sanjay Raut's residence.
Well, yes, Amisha, it's a search that has been carried out by Enforcement Directorate at Sanjay Raut's residence. They reached this morning itself. We know that there were several summons that was given to Sanjay Raut, asking him to appear before the agency, and even in the same Patra Chawl redevelopment case, where the statement of Sanjay Raut has already been recorded. We know that they were it was around for 6 to 7 hours where Sanjay Raut was grilled at the Enforcement Directorate, but there could be possibility that there are some of the answers that need to be given before the Enforcement Directorate, and more questions to be asked to Sanjay Raut, which is why they were another summon, the first summon that was issued to Sanjay Raut, but there was an assumption letter that was given by Sanjay Raut and his legal team, clearly stating that he could not be able to join the probe just because he's in Delhi, the parliament is going on. He also asked for an assumption post 7th August, but even he was asked to appear before the Enforcement Directorate, and for not appearing, this could be an action that has been initiated by Enforcement Directorate, and some of the there are some of the evidence that has been put forward, and which is why Enforcement Directorate has reached to his residence. Now the search has been conducted.
Yes, Alisha, also if you could put this into context and give us some details of this Patra Chawl scam for which Sanjay Raut is under the ED scanner.
Well, it's a case that has been registered by Enforcement Directorate. It's a redevelopment. The case is being alleged of money laundering that is linked to the redevelopment of Patra Chawl in Mumbai suburb. It is what agency that has been come to know, because at the first the case that was registered by Economic Office Wing of Mumbai Police in 2018. After which Enforcement Directorate initiated an investigation under the PMLA Act. So the case that initially was registered was EOW. That was against Rakesh Wadhwan, Sarang Wadhwan, that is the promoter of HDIL, and others on the complaint filed by Mahada Executive Engineer. In the probe where Enforcement Directorate arrested even Praveen Raut, who is a former director in Guru Ashish Construction and an alleged aide of Shiv Sena MP, that is Sanjay Raut. We know that overall in the case, in the month of April, where Enforcement Directorate attached property that is worth rupees 11.15 crore belonging to Sanjay Raut's wife, that is Vatsha Raut, Praveen Raut and Swapna Patkar, that is the wife of this Sanjay Raut's close associate Sujit Patkar. He was questioned earlier as well. This is something about the 100 crore that was transferred from HDIL to Praveen Raut, and further there was some amount that was 83 lakh that was transferred to Vatsha Raut, that is the wife of Sanjay Raut. So now this is something, a case, Enforcement Directorate has been looking into it. Vatsha Raut has already been questioned. Even Sanjay Raut has itself has tweeted that he is going to join the probe, and where he was questioned for around 8 to 10 hours. After which there are again a summons that was given to Sanjay Raut, but Sanjay Raut could not be able to appear. He was sending an attention letter to the Enforcement Directorate stating that he is in a Delhi, he is in a parliament, and which is why he could not be appear before the 7th August. Despite that, he was summoned. The last summon that we saw, that was on 27th of July. But then he has given a letter, an assumption letter from his legal team stating he could not be able to appear and he needs some more time. After which we are seeing the action that has been coming in from Enforcement Directorate, while early morning we can see that there are paramilitary forces as well that has been deployed during the action that has been initiated by enforcement directorate, because we know that searches that has been ongoing at Sanjay Raut residence in Mumbai.
Yes, Alisha, stay with us. Just a follow-up question. If you could give us more details on those who are under the scanner other than Sanjay Raut. We understand Sujit Patkar and Varsha Raut, like you mentioned. If you could give us more details as to the alleged role of these people as well in this Patra Chawl scam.
Well, we know that Praveen Raut that has already been arrested and he was questioned, and after which the link has come out. Because as I mentioned earlier, there was 100 crore that was sanctioned and that was transferred from HDIL, that is from Sarang and Rakesh Wadhwan, and later that was around 83 lakh that was transferred to Varsha Raut, which is wife of Sanjay Raut. Now that is something and under the scanner. We know some question that Sanjay Raut need to be answered. There are some links that Sanjay Raut need to be answered, because the link that has been emerged before the agency is something now has to be answered by Sanjay Raut, and which is why he's been asked to come to the enforcement directorate. But we are seeing that he is keeping the summons regularly, whether the fact he came at once, but later he was summoned where he did not join the probe, after which we are seeing that enforcement directorate has already reached to his residence. The searches has been carried out. We have to wait and watch what can be seized or what are the materials that has been seized by the enforcement directorate, because there are teams that has already reached at his residence this early morning.
Yes.
It is also we will wait for an official confirmation, but yes, it's a big development that has been coming in Patra Chawl redevelopment scam, where the enforcement director has reached Sanjay Raut residence and searches has been carried out.
Yes, so Alisha, what we understand as of now is that one of the residences is being raided belonging to Sanjay Raut. Anything you're learning from your sources as to more locations probably linked to Sanjay Raut that could be raided by the enforcement directorate today?
Well, nothing as of now that has came forward, because what we know that the searches has only been carried out, and Sanjay Raut has a property in Bhandup area only of Mumbai. And there, that bungalow is being, the searches that has been carried out at his bungalow itself. So we will wait where are the other properties that is in it. But because what of the sources that has been informed that it is only the resident is what now been raided, because this was also something under the scanner, whether the fact the money that has been diverted from Praveen Raut to Varsha Raut, or between the partners, that is Patra Chawl and Sujit Patkar. So they have been just looking whether this even property comes under the the same money trial. So this is a money laundering case that has been enforcement has been looking into it, and of course that was a Mahada executive engineer who given a complaint in 2008 before the economic wings of Mumbai police, and on their FIR, where the enforcement directorate has been looking into the matter under the PMLA Act, and now they have been calling. We even saw that Patra Patkar was questioned. She was asked to appear before the enforcement directorate. Even Varsha Raut has appeared before. Even the Sanjay Raut statement has been recorded. But this is a major development that has been coming in. There are some questions that, as I mentioned earlier, there are some questions that Sanjay Raut need to be answered, and now agency has reached to his residence and the searches has been carried out.
Yes, Alisha, just a last question before we let you go. If you could tell us, we understand that Sanjay Raut had skipped earlier 2 summons by the enforcement directorate. What is the reasoning that Sanjay Raut gave for failing to appear before the ED in connection with this scam?
Let me clear that there are many summons. Like there are 4. At first, in the summons that was issued against Sanjay Raut, whether Sanjay Raut has given a suspension, says that there is a Maharashtra political crisis and need to be here, and I won't be able to join the probe. But since the time Eknath Shinde took oath as a chief minister and Devendra Fadnavis as a deputy chief minister, the other day itself he has tweeted that that could be around at. He said that he will be joining the probe and he will appear before the enforcement directorate. So that is the day when he was questioned for around 10 hours is what we have been told. But later there were again 2 summons that was issued to Sanjay Raut, because as I said earlier, there are many questions that need to be answered, and that is why he was summoned. But he has given an assumption by his legal team stating that he is in Delhi. The parliament session is ongoing, which is why he could not be able to appear, and he also asked for an assumption till 7th of August. But again, there was a new press summon that was issued against Sanjay Raut, and he was asked to appear before the agency on 27th of July. But as we know that Sanjay Raut has already asked for an exemption, and another exemption letter that was given by his legal team to enforcement directorate stating he could not be able because this is still in Delhi. So this was the reason that he stated before the agency, but we see that the action has already been initiated because now ED has already reached at his residence in Bhandup in Mumbai, where he stays with his family, where now with the paramilitary forces, so we can see that enforcement director has already been conducting searches at his restaurant.
All right. Alisha, stay with us. So just to bring our viewers up to speed, those are the searches being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate at the residence of the Bhandup residence in Mumbai of Sanjay Raut. This is in connection with the Patra Chawl scam, which amounts to over 1,000 crore rupees alleged land scam that is related to the redevelopment of the Patra Chawl in Mumbai's Goregaon area. We have the reaction as well of BJP leader Kirit Somaia. Let's listen into what he had to say.
1200 करोड़ का पत्रा चावल घोटाला हो, वसई नायगांव में जो यूनिटेड पीएसएल बिल्डर का घोटाला हो, माफियागिरी हो, लोगों को धमकियां देना, जेल में डालना, जिस प्रकार से एनडीए सरकार ने महाराष्ट्र में भ्रष्टाचार का आतंक फैलाया था, अब संजय राउत को अपने भ्रष्टाचार का, माफियागिरी का, दादागिरी का हिसाब देना पड़ेगा। संजय राउत को आखिर हिसाब देना पड़ेगा। 1200 करोड़ का पत्रा चावल घोटाला हो, वसई नायगांव में जो यूनिटेड पीएसएल बिल्डर का घोटाला हो, माफियागिरी हो, लोगों को धमकियां देना, जेल में डालना, जिस प्रकार से एनडीए सरकार ने महाराष्ट्र में भ्रष्टाचार का आतंक फैलाया था, अब संजय राउत को अपने भ्रष्टाचार का, माफियागिरी का, दादागिरी का हिसाब देना पड़ेगा।
That was Kirit Somaia demanding answers with respect to the Patra Chawl scam and saying that Sanjay Raut will have to answer questions pertaining to this scam that amounts to over crores of rupees. Alisha continues to be with us. Alisha, if you could give us more details that you're picking up from your sources. We'll connect with Alisha again, but those are the visuals that we are getting of the mega ED raids which are currently underway at Sanjay Raut's residence. This is in connection with the Patra Chawl scam, which amounts to over crores of rupees, over 1,000 crore rupees. Remember, a close aide of Sanjay Raut has already been arrested in connection with this case, and now we have the mega ED action conducting raids at one of the residents belonging to Sanjay Raut. So trouble they're mounting for Sanjay Raut there in connection with the Patra Chawl scam. Remember, he was earlier, Sanjay Raut was earlier summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this scam for which Sanjay Raut failed to appear 2 times. And as you can see, the live visuals that we are getting to you from Sanjay Raut's residence, where the mega ED raids are underway as we speak. Remember, as I just mentioned, Sanjay Raut had earlier skipped these summons by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this scam, which amounts to over 1,034 crore rupees. And of course, Sanjay Raut there will have to answer several questions pertaining to this scam, which amounts to over crores of rupees. His aide earlier was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the same scam that is related to the redevelopment of the Patra Chawl in Mumbai's Goregaon area. So more details are awaited. What we understand as of now is that the ED reached Sanjay Raut's residence at around 7:20 a.m. this morning and began with its mega raids at Sanjay Raut's residence. And as Alisha was telling us, Sanjay Raut had skipped earlier summons as well. So several questions that will have to be answered by Sanjay Raut now as mega ED raids are underway at one of his residence in Bhandup area. Now this is a scam which amounts to thousands of crore rupees. It amounts to over 1,034 crore rupees to be precise, related to the redevelopment of Patra Chawl in Mumbai's Goregaon area. Remember, Praveen Raut was arrested in February. The ED had said that he appears to be acting as a front or a collusion with some influential persons. Our senior editor Shravan Sen is also joining us for more details. Shravan, if you could give us more details that you're learning from your sources on the mega ED raids which are currently underway. Well, we'll connect with Shravan again. I'm told Shravan is back with us. Shravan, if you could share more details with us. Well, there seems to be a network problem there. We'll connect with Shravan again.
बिल्डर का घोटाला हो, माफियागिरी हो, लोगों को धमकियां देना, जेल में डालना, जिस प्रकार से एनडीए सरकार ने महाराष्ट्र में भ्रष्टाचार का आतंक फैलाया था, अब संजय राउत को अपने भ्रष्टाचार का, माफियागिरी का, दादागिरी का हिसाब देना पड़ेगा.
Shravan is back with us. Shravan, if you could share more details with us.
Well, Samiksha, in fact, Sanjay Raut was basically sent out multiple summons. He's only appeared before the enforcement directorate once, is what we are being told. He had basically sought a time at least till the first week of next month, but before that has happened, the enforcement directorate is now carrying out searches in the Patra Chawl redevelopment scam. Now, let's just look at what are the basic charges. So the agency here has basically claimed that Praveen Raut has received about 100 crore rupees from a real estate company which goes by the name of HDIL, and he's diverted it to various accounts of his close associates, family members, his business entities, including the family members of Sanjay Raut. So from this particular 100 crore rupees that was received, the allegation is that some amount of the proceeds of crime has been received by Sanjay Raut's family members. The ED essentially has alleged that back in 2010, about 83 lakh rupees, which was basically part of the proceeds of crime, was transferred to Sanjay Raut's wife, Varsha Raut, who had basically used the money to buy an apartment in Dadar. In fact, this apartment has already been attached by the enforcement directorate. Apart from this, they also allege that at least 8 plots of the land that were purchased at Alibag in Maharashtra was also in the name of Varsha Raut and Swapna Patkar. This is the allegation that has been leveled with regards to the money or the proceeds of crime, part of it that has been received by Sanjay Raut's family members. Now, with regards to the project itself, remember the project was basically, as per the agreement, the developer had to pay rent to all the 672 tenants every month till the completion of the project. ED claims that this project was never completed despite the kind of permissions that were granted, which they suspect was because of the influence of Sanjay Raut. They basically said it was Sanjay Raut who had basically influenced the officials, and that is the reason why the project was granted the kind of permission it was from the authorities, from MADA particularly. And that is the reason why, remember, Sanjay Raut has also now come under the scam.
Yes. Shravan, just a follow-up question. If you could tell us from the details what we know so far, is it possible that Praveen Raut could be the front man of Sanjay Raut?
Well, that's what the enforcement directorate suspects, that it is after all Praveen Raut who's the man who's actually received the loans and the money that he had basically received from HDIL. And that too, this money was received by Praveen Raut despite no work being done. They say that this is part of the profit that was made, but the fact of the matter is that the project never took off. So how exactly were profits made in this particular case? More importantly, it is only after the enforcement directorate had filed the case that we are going to understand that part of the money that was received by Varsha Raut was returned. So why exactly would the money be returned, that too without paying any particular interest, if Varsha Raut was essentially showing that the money that was received by her was on the basis of some sort of a loan?
Yes. Shravan, just a last question before we let you go. Also, another major question arising at this point is, did Sanjay Raut return bribe money to Praveen Raut after the ED launched its probe in connection to the scam?
Well, in fact, the enforcement directorate said that these are proceeds of crime. about 100 crore rupees that was received by Praveen Raut. Now, with regards to Sanjay Raut and his family members, the enforcement directorate has been able to trace the money to about 83 lakh rupees. Some part of the money, we have been told, was already sent back by Sanjay Raut to Praveen Raut, but this was only after the enforcement directorate has basically stepped in. The suspect that this was the money that was received by Sanjay Raut as part of the proceeds of crime, simply because they say that when the money was returned, no interest was paid. If no interest was actually paid, then how could it be considered as a loan to begin with? Secondly, a large part of the money that was received by them was diverted to buy properties in Mumbai as well as outside Mumbai. Some of these properties have already been attached when the investigation had actually begun, is what we are being told. And in fact, what we also claim is that not just one, but several householders were basically duped by in this Patra Chawl redevelopment scam. And the fact that Sanjay Raut at that point in time was considered to be someone who was influential, using his name, Praveen Raut has also been able to influence certain officials within MADA and get certain permissions for this particular project.
All right, Shravan, thank you for taking us through the details. So as Shravan was telling us, this scam amounts to crores of rupees, and as you can see from the visuals, the ED searches are underway at Sanjay Raut's residence. Now, among the big allegations that Sanjay Raut is facing at this point is violation of MADA norms for sale of flats. He received another allegation is receiving booking from 458 home buyers, to be precise, and 138 crore rupees, what we are told, among the major allegations that was collected while booking. So those are some of the big allegations that have been leveled against Sanjay Raut and his aides as well. In fact, what we are also told is that another question that is arising at this point is if Praveen Raut is the front man of Sanjay Raut, Praveen Raut, who's said to be the close aide of Sanjay Raut, who's now been arrested as well. And now from the visuals, as you can see, these are the early morning searches that are being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the Patra Chawl scam. So this is one of the residents. This is one of the residents in Bhandup belonging to Sanjay Raut, which is currently being raided by the Enforcement Directorate. So ED team there undertaking mega searches at Sanjay Raut's residence.